Okay, so I'm Rebekah, and I'm from JesusWired's, and I just kind of wanted for people to get to know you. So maybe if you want to say like your name and then what you do in the band, and then your favorite song, whether to play or just in general.
Awesome. Okay. I'm Stephanie. I'm from the band I Am They, and I sing. And is it the favorite song on the record?
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite song on the record is Amen. It's the last track on our record. And yeah.
Cool. I'm Adam. I sing and play guitar and write songs. And my favorite song on the record is Over and Over Again.
Hey, this is Matt from I Am They. You guessed it, same band. I am the stompist. Now, I play guitars, mandolin, banjo, guitar, and I would have to say, live, I love playing Awake My Love. Probably message-wise, Make a Way is the song for me that really wrenches my heart.
Okay,
Don't make me cry. First question.
First question while bawling our eyes
it'll
out.
go viral and it'll be great. So how did you guys meet, and then how did that inspire becoming a band and joining together? Like, how did you guys decide that you like each other enough to want to tour and play music?
It's gradual. I mean, we started out with hatred with each other.
Pure hatred.
No. Matt and I were writing songs together from 2004 when we were still teenagers into 2008 is when we were asked by my pastor at my church if we wanted to have a worship night, or not a worship night. He asked us to play a concert of our music, which we were called Copper Song. That's secret info no one knows, but we were called Copper Song, and we had this this acoustic duo. It's really embarrassing to say, but we wrote and played acoustic love songs. And so my pastor wanted this alternate night thing for Halloween, and I thought that'd be a really weird alternate to see two guys playing love songs on Halloween. So we decided to have a worship night, and so we got the worship idea down. We wanted to have 3 hours of worship. We wanted to be this epic night, and so we have a very small community, 87% unchurched where we're from, and so we had to pull from lots of different churches and different worship teams to put together a team. And so initially it was 6 people from 5 different churches, and so I Am They was not even like an idea for a couple years. 2008 to 2011, we just continued doing what we love to do with that worship ministry. In late 2010, a entrepreneur came by and asked if we would like to open for an RC coming through town. And I'm like, yeah, who is that? And he's like, it's Matthew West. And we're like, oh, okay. So that was our very first opener ever, and we didn't even have original songs.
We were terrified. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to write 4 original songs in 1 month in order to play. And we did that, and Matthew was very supportive and really liked our harmonies and how we did what we do, and so he encouraged us to continue on. And then we got to the place where we were just getting like more and more opportunities to play and open for different artists. And so we went from there to opening for Brandon Heath, Chris August, and it just kind of went from there. God just kind of kept opening doors for us, and we're like, okay, I guess we need a new name, because Solomon's Porch was the name of the ministry, and it had 30-something thousand hits on it, and so we're like, we need something that is not going to be just in the masses, and so we came up with I Am They.
Okay, so how do you balance life on tour with life at home? Because you guys just got off the Rock and Worship Roadshow, which was very time-consuming.
Matthew?
Thanks.
Well, being a dad.
Yeah. I'm the only one in the band that has a kid, and so it's really hard to answer that question. And honestly, the more I've heard from people, the more I've found there's not really a great answer that's just like, oh, this is how you do it, and bing, solution. Like, you're still going to be apart from your family. For me, this was my first child. I have a little son, he's 2.5. And just like what just happened before we started the interview, like, you get a call and Micaiah's this, or this is happening, and he just had his first day at gymnastics the other day, and it's like, I get to see that from afar, but I don't get to be there or whatever. So you can't replace those things, but you can still love each other from afar, and you can still pour into each other with prayer and devotion. And I think that if we fall out of that routine, not routine, but even like discipline, if you will. That connection with each other, the devotion, the more meaningful depth stuff, then everything else starts to fall apart. So you get more frustrated, or you get more, it starts to hurt you more, the distance and things like that. Whereas when we start our mornings together in the same devotions, and we're speaking those things to each other, speaking life to one another, and reminding each other of the promises of God, those are the things that holds you together. That's just the family element, but there's also things like, being apart from your church family and friends and, parents and whatnot, things like that. So, and these guys probably speak to that.
Yeah, this is Adam. My situation is a little different than his in that Sarah is our drummer and she's my wife, and so we're always on the road. So we don't have kids. Our home life is our road life. It's a little different than a lot of people. It makes for interesting marital strife of how you handle that in front of other people.
You got 4 other people in that marriage.
Right. They're basically involved in it, and so yeah, it's been a challenge. But we actually just had our 12th anniversary yesterday.
Yay.
And so thank you. And so I think if we were newlyweds, we would not have survived Roadshow even, because it was really testing on all relationships. But because we had some ground and foundation underneath us, and that our focus was on ministry and Christ, and I think God got us through it. So.
Yeah. So where do you find your inspiration as a band?
Oh wow, that's a really great question, because for the songs, Matt, Adam, and I all write the songs together, and then we usually have somebody else in the room with us, and so it's great because there's always something that the Lord's speaking differently in our lives, which I think actually makes for great music, because we're all coming from different walks of life and areas of life and seasons of life, so we can all really pull from those things. I think we get a lot of inspiration just solely on what God's speaking to us in our personal relationships with Him, because I think that when you get inspiration out of that, people totally relate to that. They totally connect with that, because God works and moves in us all individually, but the message is always the same. You know what I mean? And it's like something that I'll be going through this week, Adam might be going through next week. And it's like, or in different seasons, and we can all call back to that moment where it's like, I remember when God taught me that lesson, and that was really inspiring, and that really moved me. Let's write a song about it, because I know, down the road somebody else is going to go through that struggle or face that trial or experience that victory, and I want to be able to share in that with them through our music. So
I think inspiration comes a lot of times from being, like the Word talks about keeping in step with the Spirit, and I think that is a big part of it. Like being sensitive, to me that means being sensitive to where the Spirit is leading, and you can come in and try and force something, or you can kind of pick up on what God is doing around you in your everyday, and it's just having open senses to Him, to His voice, to His leading in your life, to what He's working in the band dynamic, what He's working in your family. There's just so many different ways that God speaks to us through so many different things. So it's just about keeping open senses to that. We just wrote a song yesterday that was about like my wife's grandfather. He's 89. He just received the Lord, accepted the Lord this past year. He's in a hospital, and it's this amazing story. But things like that, where God is speaking, and it's this thing that's happening, honestly, distant from the band, in a whole different state, and, we don't see them very often because they don't live next to us or anything like that. But you see what God is doing there, and it becomes inspiration because the Holy Spirit is working. And we get to put that to song, so.
So you were just on tour on the Rock and Worship Roadshow with a lot of other bands, and you guys did a series of covers from each of those artists. And so what inspired that? How did that come to be? Because I know there's a lot of people who love those.
Oh, that's cool.
good old Marcus.
I always wanted to do a Jamie Grace song.
I feel bad asking that on your Release Tuesday thing, but
Oh,
no,
sure.
no. No, he was the one who had the first idea to do the Jamie Grace cover.
Yeah.
And then we just kept with it, and he agreed to film it and release it on their site. So it wasn't necessarily him. It became management, a couple other things kind of pushing us to do it. We are an acoustic band, and so we are all very comfortable on our instruments, and I think we shine most when we're just in that environment. And so our challenge was we'd always learn the song in a half hour or less, so we'd have to bust it out really quickly. Sometimes in the videos we'd have our phones down there so we couldn't find the lyrics and stuff, because we didn't, except for her, she memorizes them instantly. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how.
But for me, I have to have the little phone down there. And so we just kind of went through different ones until our label caught on, like, you should do this one and this one. And so I was like, okay. So we just kept going with it. And depending on who was there's a couple that are just like Steph and I, or Matt, Steph and I, and then a couple that are full band. So it was just whatever we can piece together at the time. We have a lot of eclectic instruments, and so we tried to just do what we could. It's not like we sat down like, how do we make this our own? It's just what we're able to do. So.
Honestly, though, we just love doing music together, and being able to fellowship, like doing things like that. I think it really draws us closer as a band, and it's something that we can collaborate on that's not our own music, and it's something like a little bit outside of ourselves. And it was really fun to like see the artist like, oh, there's David Crowder, we just covered his song in an elevator, like, you know what I mean?
He was like peeking in the window and doing Matt Maher's song.
Yeah, and so like it was just a really cool way to kind of like bring people together and just really experience a sense of community while we were out there, because it was a really, really crazy couple of months for us. So.
I think we all just had an inner desire to rap.
Yeah, that is right.
We got to Tadashi's song. And we got to rap and be gangsters for just a brief moment.
Yeah,
yes.
I got to flash some
gangster
in
us.
hands.
We just had to get that out.
Yeah.
I feel like the tension levels just dropped after that. We did that cover. All the
After we got
all the
props.
gangster angst. We got it all out.
Do those two words go together? Gangster angst?
They do now.
They do.
They do
It's a
now.
very real thing.
It is a real
Yes.
thing. It's a real
Should be a
problem.
rap song about gangster angst.
There it is. We're gonna write it. Next album. Here we go.
So then, which was your favorite cover to do? Which is probably hard.
That is hard.
My favorite.
Go ahead.
My favorite one was Greater. Was Mercy Me's Greater when we were in the back of that trailer.
Yeah.
We were like loading our trailer.
And then we did get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
We did.
We were
That's Sarah, our drummer, by the way.
Yeah.
typing in with a curling iron in her hair.
It's real. You know what?
I think my favorite one was we did David Crowder's I Am inside of an elevator. And the lady was ticked. The elevator operator did not want any part of it. She's kind of
Sweet
like,
old little lady.
she's like, I don't know if you
Bet
can
she
do
was
this.
not
We're like,
impressed.
great, we'll do it anyways. And so we
She's
just
not
kind of
used.
we kind of did that, and then we ended the video literally by walking out of the elevator, and that was like what happened. We just didn't go back after that.
By the end of it, she was pretty sweet.
She was
Yeah.
nice
She was on
eventually.
board.
Because it sounded so good that how could you not?
Oh,
Like I kept
thank you.
sharing each one on Facebook, and I'm like, I know you guys are sick of seeing this, but this one's so good, and
Yeah.
this one's even better. And then the 10th Avenue North one at the end. Do you remember?
Oh,
Like,
that
I was
one was
great.
Bawling.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Bawling. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're gonna get a little,
Yeah.
get heavier again. So do you feel as though you have like a pastoral calling with your listeners? I mean, you do music, but I'm sure that when you're doing meet and greets, people just kind of spill out their lives.
I definitely do. I share my testimony usually every night when we're doing at least part of my testimony, and because of the content of it, I get a lot of really heavy conversation every single night. People come up to me, talk to me about past abuses, depression, suicide attempts, heavy things, losses of family members, all that stuff that I've been through in my life, and it's really something that I feel God has given me a unique role to kind of speak into. But we all have always said that our music follows our ministry. We want to be about ministry and why we're doing this, because it doesn't make sense any other way. I mean, Christian music is purposeless if there's no ministry to it. It's just is empty noise. It's literally what it's talking about 1 Corinthians 13. It's just an empty, vacant noise. And so I feel like we all, even though we're not speaking in a pastoral sense, our band is very, very pastoral, and because that's how we were raised in our church community. That's how we were brought up in our faith. Even if I don't mean literally from like baby age or whatever. I got saved when I was 16, but still, that's what's been modeled for us, and that's what we know. And so I think that's that's always going to be the static inside of I Am They's ministry, is we're always going to have that heart for it.
Yeah, so do you find it then difficult to connect with fans? I mean, you have a very limited time. There's a lot of people who come through and want to meet you guys. So do you find it hard to connect and really give them the time that they want with you guys?
I think a lot of times, yeah. If I was to be honest, like, we want to talk to each person and hear each person out, whether it's, some others are deeper than others, but there's often like this line, you know, of people, and you want to reach out to them and hear their stories, but a lot of times, you know, it's like we get to hug them, you know, we get to give them a hug and say thank you so much and try and pour out our thanks for who they are, but we don't get to have those deeper connections as much as we want to, but we try and reach out to those, and again, be sensitive to the leading of the Holy Spirit. Sometimes it's just a guy that's security guard in the hallway, you know, or the lady that's serving you salad in catering or whatever it is. So it's looking for the opportunity.
My spiritual father kind of instilled into me the value of the ministry of affection, and just being able to just hug somebody can mean more to them than me spending 15 minutes just kind of coaching them through something, because they can get that anywhere, but really they just want to be able to share their story, their hurts, their lives, whatever, and just have somebody hear them, like really listen. There's a difference between listening and hearing somebody. And so just being able to really hear them and just like hug them and be quiet and then pray over them, that's enough for, I guess, for missing that time that we get to spend.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck tonight.
Thank
You
you
did
so
great.
much. Yeah, that was
Good
for
questions.
our first interview. I am
Yeah,
like
incredible.
I'm
Standing ovation.
Oh, wait, hold on.